Yeah, I just think, yeah, I would ask them to thank you as soon as possible. We have a couple days. I just am so frustrated with his giving. It just grosses me out.
Dave's on his way.
It's okay. We're already.
You're in?
Well, we're
just
just
here by
using. We were
11:30.
hoping to use his computer as the connector. Now we're using the webcam instead of the actual camera as a backup. But it's okay.
He can still bring it out.
Yeah, in case he wasn't.
Yeah.
We needed to set it back up.
Got it. Okay. You look nice.
Cool. All right. So we're up.
Hello.
We're good.
Oh,
I know.
okay,
Sorry.
cool.
Sorry, we didn't know if it
No, no
would.
problem at all. Awesome.
I guess
We have how many backups do we have? My computer.
That's good. Yeah. I mean,
Apparently, it's necessary.
It is. I mean, just.
She was beautiful.
Especially when she was young.
Gorgeous. I remember I watched all these things and saw this beautiful picture.
No. All right.
And I
okay.
I just have to keep it.
there. I don't know. Okay.
I know, but the doctor's good question. I mean, it's different. It's not the same thing.
This for Jay today.
I know.
Oh, yes.
The driveway. Not anymore, though. There's one I don't think it's that
And I love that exactly. Competitive spirit.
amazing. Somebody, my kids make a big deal about it. He lost it in there. Like an actual, actually stuff. Everything. Oh, you have to make it a little like running around the and it's not very they're not because of the way you see like the gifts
and sustainable
It's probably like for me, the first time I need to get it out.
Yeah.
You know, these people are
Hello, everybody. Start the meeting. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for coming to our meeting today. Nice and cozy by this fire. There's a little spot right here. We have a very exciting program today. We'll hear from Sarah Kidwell and Mike Ferguson here in a bit. But we will, about our new website, which is just beautiful and really exciting. We are going to start off with our committee chairs for CPO, and Sydney McCullers will be speaking for Susan So on the class representatives.
Hi, I am, we're meeting very soon, February 12th. We're going to be meeting actually here, probably here in the Johnson Library from 10 to 12. We are still definitely looking for volunteers from all grades. We're doing a combined effort this round so that all the freshmen, sophomore, junior, senior parents will all work together. We'll put together one big project for all the kids and then deliver. So anybody that wants to come help with that, just if you could shoot me an email and let me know that you're coming, then we'd be glad to have you. And anybody that would like to still donate candy or small toys, we're still taking donations. So let me know.
This is for Valentine's Day.
For Valentine's. Yes, Valentine's Day. Good. Yes. So I hope to see some of you there.
Great, thank you. Elizabeth, Troy, for faculty appreciation.
Yes, I just want to say Jessica appreciation because Jessica made those cookies herself, but that's the heart-shaped ones like we do for every meeting. So
Please take one.
amazing, thank you. So this is so fun because I don't live in town, but the weekend of February 11th and 12th, there's so many reasons to be here. So the 11th is winter formal, which I'm sure you'll hear about in a minute. And then the 12th, we're packing goodie bags, like Sydney just said, for the whole school's getting the same goodie bag. So we'll be like Oompa Loompas. That'll be so fun. And then that afternoon, we're getting ready for the Valentine's Faculty Appreciation Dinner. So I'm just so happy that I can just come once and get all of that done. So I hope that you will too. The Faculty Appreciation, I guess it's a reception. It's we're having like chocolate covered strawberries and other treats. But we need some people to set up and clean up and contribute. There was an announcement through Parent Square that has the sign-ups. Was it from 4 to 6?
4 to 6.
Okay, so the event itself is from 4 to 6, but we need a few more people to help set up from 3 to 5 and clean up and serve and stuff from 5 to 7. So, and lots more secret treats. Thank you. Does anybody have questions about that? So it's such a nice time where we get to say thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Michelle, would you like to talk about the Blue U?
Yes,
Give us
I
a little
would.
update.
Dressed all in blue, obviously, because it's the Blue Hue that I'm talking about today. Very exciting news. The Blue Hue, in case none of you are aware, just had its first birthday. Can you believe it opened a year ago at the beginning of January? So Casey organised a very cool anniversary sale, which she told me was very successful. So and it just feels like that was such a great addition to our community here. I feel like it's been there more than a year somehow, but anyway, so that's the first year. Casey will actually be here at the next meeting. She's going to come and talk to us about the online book ordering system that we set up last year, just to answer any questions and just really lay it all out for us so that we understand exactly what's happening when the new semester starts. We have to order our students' books. Casey has asked me to ask if any of you would be willing to, we just need a couple of volunteers to come over Grandparents' Weekend, which is 24th, 25th of February, just for one slot on Friday afternoon and then one slot on Saturday afternoon. So anyone that is able to do that, see me afterwards. We'd also like to have a couple of parent volunteers for the revisit days which are coming up. And I can send out an email with those specific times and dates so that we can get some feedback on that. But please continue to support the Blue U. It's, as I say, a great addition to our community, and all of the proceeds really help with student activities like prom and homecoming. So you're really giving back in a great way to the kids. So don't forget to buy birthday presents there or anything that your students need. It's a great way to support the school. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you. Tracy, winter dance.
Winter dance is very soon. It's a big weekend, same big weekend that Elizabeth spoke about. And all of our plans are done. We just need a few volunteers which we need a lot of volunteers for the weekend, both Friday and Saturday from 10 to 4. So I do have a sign-up sheet, and we're also sending out an email. And we're also asking for some gift cards for the roulette. The roulette people will be handing out gifts to the kids or prizes. So you'll be getting emails about that. But not that many of us, but if you don't mind, hand out this if anybody wants to write their name on it. That would be terrific. And then I'll send you an email to remind you.
Who do we give the gift cards to?
You can, last year we sent some to Sandy's office, but you mind hanging on to those in the business office?
Yeah.
And then on the email, I put my address, my PO box, and card, and I'd be happy to hang on to those too. I'll give you that information. And I think the dance is going to be fantastic. It's growing 20s, and apparently they're getting uniforms or costumes already, and there's lots of amazing decorations, and then there's roulette in here, and the same DJ we had last year. It's just really good. I think that's it for
Want to
this
share
year.
about the entertainment?
Oh, during the cocktail hour, there's a gentleman who's a Kate alum, and his name is George Kieran, and he plays the guitar, but I think he has some entertainment. He'll be performing old music during the cocktail hour that, like Lord Twenties type casual music. That's it. Hope to see you that weekend.
Thank you, Tracy.
And no mountain here in Mackville.
Great. Thank you so much. Danielle, would you like to talk about the walkathon?
Thanks. This year I'm helping Will Holmes organize the walkathon, and it's going to be on Sunday, April 9th. And there's two purposes to the event. One is community building, and typically about 250 people participate. And everyone goes from here to a spot on the beach where there are games and lunches served, and the parents donate dessert. So parents provide dessert at the lunch. And the second purpose of the event is fundraising. So this is the main fundraising event for community service activities at Cape. And one of the things that they do with those funds is the service learning trip, which is actually leaving today to Mexico. It's the Los Niños trip. So that's a big part of the fundraising, why we do the walkathon, and also other community service activities throughout the year. So I need to recruit a few parents to help with the stations along the route to the beach, also to donate desserts, and then also starting in March we'll be coming back to you with pledges, but if you're interested in pledging you could put your name down here too. So I'm going to pass this around, so thanks for your support.
Great. Thank you, Danielle. Laura, our student body president, will be talking about Round Square.
Yeah, so I'm here in place of the Round Square head, who's not available to speak today. But I am part of the Round Square board. I help lead the Round Square International Service portion of the Round Square board. And I started being involved in Round Square when I was a sophomore going into junior year, when I spent my summer in Peru with the International Service Program, and I spent about 3 weeks there. 2 weeks were helping out with a project, and then I stayed the last week as part of a leadership conference and leadership program, and that was pretty inspiring for me. It was a great experience. I worked with students from all over the world and made really good friends there, and it really boosted my confidence going into junior year, and I had the mindset of leading the school and working with people and just learning basic leadership skills. So I really value Round Square, and that's why I joined the Round Square board junior year, and just to help carry that through and advertise for Round Square and getting the community involved. So just an update about how Round Square's been going. We've had the pleasure of hosting 2 exchange students this year. One is Imogen from the UK, and one is Omar from Peru. And Imogen's been great. She's a junior, and she's been helping out on the JV soccer team. We've been down on students. People have been injured. Me. And so she's just, she's never played soccer before, but so she's helping out, and it's fun. And Omar, I think, is a senior, and he's taking classes. I don't know him quite well, but I think he's having a good time. Let's see. The new International Service project this year is a bit different. Since it's Round Square's 50th anniversary, they've created a bigger project with 50 students, and one for sure from K is going. It's in Tanzania, and 2 are seeing if they could join when we're waiting for updates. About conferences, there's an application process open for those who want to join the regional conference this April in Argentina, and K students will apply to go on the exchanges to different schools this summer. And last year we went over to Chadwick School, which is in LA. There's also a Round Square School, and we stayed over there, and we had a community service day with Chadwick, and we had fun with them, just getting to know kids around the area. And this year, Chadwick is coming to Cape for a night, and we're kind of doing a similar thing, but on the Cape campus. So that's about it for Round Square, and we'll keep you updated. Yeah.
That's great. Thank you, Flora. And if anyone, we sent out a parent square, but if anyone would like to host one of the kids while they're here, maybe with your child and some friends, and take them and maybe do something in town in Santa Barbara or in Carpinteria, there's opportunities for that. So you can just contact Will Holmes or Susan Jackson about that. So I think they're here for a few more weeks, right? Almost
Two and three, yeah.
Great, thank you, Flora. Jasmine, prom.
So winter dance is around the corner, but prom's not far because it's early this year. It's on 1st April. I don't think we've ever had it this early. Don't be fooled by it. But we're doing a fundraiser on for Valentine's Day, and we've got terrific response. It's going well, but the terrific response means I need help on the 14th morning to distribute the roses and the cookies and all of that. So there's a 3rd sign up that's going to be going around. If you can come help that morning. The other day we need help is on the day itself, and from 1st April. It's going to be at the Santa Barbara Club, and we get it from 12 o'clock onwards to set up. So whoever can come help that day for however long, that would be great if you could sign up for that too. And if you still want to order cookies and you haven't emailed me, just put it on the next page here, and that should work.
And Jasmine, you can send cookies and roses to advisors and
Yes,
teachers and
anybody, anonymous, put your
children's
name.
friends, and
Yes,
the
anyone.
more the merrier.
Yes, absolutely.
Right. Thank you. Thank you, Jasmine. Okay, so we're gonna have a little switch in our schedule here. We'll start with our campus update. I believe Jay has to teach us.
Yes. Sorry, and the switch in the schedule is my fault. I have to teach at 12:40, so apologize. So it's good to see you all again. It's been, as it always, I feel like every month we sort of start with, whether it's Ben or whether it's the two of us, we start with the same thing, which is it's been a busy month. It's a busy school. There's a lot going on. I'm going to just cover 4 topics. I'm going to try to do them in chronological order. And I want to start by just prefacing what I say with a comment that Ben made back just a couple of weeks ago, and that was actually right on the heels of the election, the presidential election. It was that we didn't come to Kate to agree. We actually came here to learn. And that's been I think that's been a mantra that we've been trying to hold on to ever since he said it right after the presidential elections, because for whatever reason, we've been faced with some challenges, some things that have forced us to really think about that carefully. That idea of we're not always going to agree with each other, and sometimes we've got to figure out how to agree in ways that are civil and are open-minded. So anyway, I'm going to start with going back and Martin Luther King Day celebration, which was an amazing day. It's actually a sort of a day and a half program. We started in the evening, the night of Martin Luther King Day, and then the celebration was the next day. We had an outside presenter, a woman by the name of Brittany Barron, who was actually did a TED Talk down in Pasadena that Rebecca Berry saw. And Rebecca was down there in support of Dave Mokel, who was Marty Weir's husband. That's a long-winded way of saying that's how we came to discover Brittany Barron. She's a really captivating, relatively young speaker, and someone who did some great workshops with us around inclusion and multiculturalism, and specifically the experience of African Americans in this country over the course of our history. So it was a really fascinating day. I think if you talk to virtually any student, especially students who've gone through a number of Martin Luther King Day celebrations, they will say that this was the best one. This is the one that really got us, forced us to talk about race, forced us to talk about multiculturalism and inclusion in ways that are hard. And for that reason, I think on some levels, there were moments during the day that were uncomfortable for all of us, no matter what race or ethnicity or religion you come from. But there are also moments of real celebration of trying to get us to think about each other in different ways and understanding each other. I think there's one of the takeaways that we had from this day, and I should note that Brittany Barron came with her father, her sister, and a number, probably 7 or 8 other colleagues that did sort of breakout sessions with the whole school during the celebration, and then we came back together and did some activities together. There's always room for more debriefing, and I think one of the takeaways for us was, I think especially for some of our younger students, they walked away from the experience not exactly knowing how they were supposed to feel about some of the activities that we did. So, as it is for everything, we're always trying to evolve, we're always trying to get better at what we do, but I think by and large, we asked faculty and students who've been through a number of these celebrations, it was a real great success. Later in that week, Delaney Mayfield gave a Wednesday talk, which is normally a Tuesday talk, and Delaney's topic was to talk a little bit about her experiences as someone who comes to conversations and to politics from a more conservative perspective. And under normal circumstances, I wouldn't bring up Tuesday talks. Most of the time they're brilliant, most of the time they're really interesting and captivating, deeply personal. Delaney's was one that really forced this community to think about itself and about the way that we conduct ourselves in class, what we talk about around the lunch tables, and the bent that sometimes we have up here. And schools, I think, by and large, particularly independent schools, tend to be pretty liberal. They tend to faculty, students. That tends to be sort of where schools like this are sort of situated. And I think for part of what was really powerful for the community here is that sometimes is really hard if you come at the world from a different perspective. And I think it really, again, in some ways, it was a really interesting parallel to some of the things we talked about on Martin Luther King Day celebration, that idea of awareness and thinking about everybody's perspective and having empathy about that perspective. So that was a really, Delaney's my advisee, so watching her do that was a really courageous talk. It was a talk that I think really generated a lot of actually support for her and opportunities for conversations. So a week later, we had Colin McCann here. Colin McCann is the author of Let the World Spin, 13 Ways of Looking, and then most recently, well, not actually most recently, but the most important book to us is Transatlantic, our summer read, our inquiry read. So he was in classes, in English classes during the day, talking about writing, talking about his craft. He met with a whole host of different students over the course of the day, and then he gave a convocation in the evening and had dinner with us. And it was fascinating to have him around to talk about how he created Transatlantic. And one of his messages, again, was this idea of listening to each other, of being aware of difference, and trying to accept and think carefully about how we all come at different perspectives. And then lastly, I'm just going to point out that we've had some disciplinary issues that have come up just in the last week or so. Those disciplinary issues have been around social media and targeting students in social media. I will just say, I'm not going to get into any details because that's not fair to the families involved. But I will say that I want you all to know that we take the use of social media and how we treat each other up on this campus very, very seriously. And we try to respond quickly. We try to respond in a way that makes clear what our expectations are. And my guess is, you know, if you're around your own children, you know that they're on social media a lot. It's a nuance. It's a different kind of hurdle for us to deal with. But I want you to know that we pay very close attention when we know about things that are going on, and we try to deal with them in an appropriate way, in a fair way. We also know that over the course of a year, there are lots of different situations that come up that we try to respond to with empathy, and we try to respond to them in a way that demonstrates what our values are, which are that we expect people to be kind and empathic to each other all the time, no matter if you're on social media or whether you're standing next to somebody. And yet, sometimes the responses to those disciplinary issues, if they get to that level, are nuanced. There's always more to the story. There's always information that not all of us have access to. I guess I would just say, I want you to know that that is something that we take very seriously. And if you ever have questions about sort of how we're managing those kinds of situations, I hope you just call and get in touch with some of the administration, your son or daughter's advisor as well. So that's all I have. I'm going to try my best to stick around, but I've got to go at 12:40. So if you have any questions about anything that I covered and I'm not here, please feel free to call, text, email, whatever works best for you. Happy to answer questions.
Are there any questions now, or is there anything that's come up?
Anything that comes up from?
Well, I'm actually going to just go over briefly some of the more day-to-day things that have gone on here. And as Jay opened, it's a busy place. We do say that every time, but it's always interesting to highlight some of the activities up here. Not the least of which in the recent weeks has been rain, lots of it, which is great for this campus. It's greener now than it's been in a number of years. We did find a few places with leaks because we haven't had rain for a while, but other than that, the campus is faring pretty well. It's also been cold and flu season. I know you've had several communications from the health center. That too is something we're taking very seriously, trying to keep students who need to be in the health center there, and students who can go back to their rooms. You'll notice around campus a lot of the hand stations. Please feel free to use them often. And we're hoping that the season goes by pretty quickly. And again, under the idea of lots going on, winter sports are underway. So water polo, basketball, soccer, squash this weekend. The rain has actually postponed a number of the outdoor games, so they're being pretty well compacted into these next few weeks. If you happen to be on campus in all likelihood on any given day, please take advantage of what's going on because there's going to be a lot of sports happening. And in the last few weeks, we've had, we always have activities on the campus, and this group actually is amazing in supporting the big ones, but every weekend there's something. So if you think about the superhero dance, or taking kids to the Sky Zone, dodgeball in the gym, River Park and a movie and dinner. The math department hosted last Sunday, taking 4 Yukons full of students to go see Hidden Figures in Santa Barbara. So always something going on. And this weekend, we're looking at Los Niños, the ski trip. The squash team is going down to San Diego. There's a day trip to Chinatown on Sunday. Scuba is going out to the islands. So more than half the school will be away on activities. And then there's, things planned for those who are here on campus. And in the upcoming weeks, there's a lot of excitement about the winter dance. So I wish that you could be a fly on the wall at assemblies. The announcements how the students are inviting each other to winter dance, very clever, very creative, and happens every single day right now. So, and then as Flora was in here, we have the 2 Round Square students that were here, and folks in this group have been really wonderful in wanting to support their being here in the U.S. I did want to reiterate, if you had the inclination to invite students to your home, or to do a weekend activity, or a weekday, a daytime activity, or a day activity with them, just to give them that sense of, families in the U.S. is always, it's just lovely, and we really appreciate families when they open their homes. If you want to drive students in group activities, you can do that. You come to my office, we have some forms we would have you fill out, and we'll do a DMV check on your driver's license, because that's what we are required to do. Assuming that all works out, you are covered under the school's policy as a volunteer, and I just wanted you to know that that's available to you. So feel free to stop by our office, and a couple of you have already done that. And again, actually on the Brown Square theme, the conference that's coming up in April in Argentina, we have so many students who have been applying. It's amazing to see the interest in this organization as it's grown, and really started to define a lot of things that go on the campus. In fact, there are folks in this room whose students have gone on some of the trips. So if your children are at all interested in international experiences, international exposure between the summer programs, the trips that we're doing now, meeting the students who are coming here, those students have made connections with our students, who then in turn have gone to visit their schools later on. I would just encourage them to take advantage of the opportunity. The kids who are here aren't here for a long time. They're here for a month, 6 weeks. But it's a great opportunity to just meet your peers from other parts of the world. So, if any questions on some of the more day-to-day? Yeah?
My son's going on the ski trip, and I'm just curious, what vehicle do they take for that trip?
Well, we have a bus that takes them up.
Oh, it's
And then we have a couple of our own Yukons that drive with chains as additional vehicles. So.
Does the bus have chains? Because
Well,
the
they
bus
have-
is tomorrow and Sunday.
I think it's Santa Barbara Airbus this year, so they're designed, and it's a charter bus, it's not the Kate school bus.
Oh, I see.
So, yeah. Yep.
I have a quick question about the social media that you
Yeah,
referred
of
to.
course.
And I'm new, so maybe people know this, but in instances like this where there's a disciplinary situation, does Kate take that as an opportunity to sort of reinforce the expectations, so all the students sort of gain something about what is required, or what is, I just was wondering.
Yeah, it depends on the situation. Sometimes the nature of the situation is it's sensitive and private, so that you really can't disclose more broadly to the rest of the school community what's going on. If it goes to a discipline committee meeting, then Brian Rodriguez, our Dean of Students, always makes an announcement, and it's partly about what happened to the specific students, but it's also about sort of the larger picture, and these are our expectations more broadly. And beyond that, probably the most effective conversations that happen in advisory, in the freshman and sophomore seminar classes, where you've got 10 or 15 young folks who have an opportunity to really hash this out, talk it through. And then in the dormitories as well, they have dorm meetings every Sunday night, and the day students tend to, some of them drift into those meetings, and then Gwendolyn Pierce is always available to talk through some of those concerns as well. So it depends on the situation. But and there's also, there are units in the freshman and sophomore seminar class that get at social media and how we use social media as well. Yeah, sure.
there are no other questions, we'll turn it over to the main attraction, which is Sarah and Mike and the website. Thank you.
This is Mike's computer. Okay, great. So in case you didn't notice, and I'm sure that you have, we stealthily unveiled a new website in early January that was a little bit intentional in terms of the rollout. It's was a work in progress, is a work in progress, and will always be a work in progress. So we didn't do a big splashy wowie zowie, here we are with our new website, because we were working through it as we went. And some of you noticed right away and got in touch and said, wow, what? And we've been working through all that. And then a few days later, we did let you know more formally. We've been hearing from you and really every constituent in our community about, and new constituents as well, about what they think. So we thought we'd walk you through some of what we went through to get here. And then Michael sort of get more specific about, how you as family can use it as parents. So you'll remember fondly our old website with your children's pictures at the top. So sorry. We actually did ask our web design company, can we please keep those? But we ended up moving away from that concept. So it's already looking pretty flat and dated, and there are a number of reasons that we had to work through something different. It was more like an encyclopedia than a useful website, and people were just getting bogged down in lots and lots of pages. It was just frankly too deep, and so we wanted to move to the next level. We pulled in some help. We discovered this great organization they're based in Pasadena. We talked to a number of different companies, and small and big and local and further away. We landed on Distinct because we liked their approach, their creativity, their ability to be here often, quite frankly. They're not so far away. And just their ability to really listen out of anyone that we spoke to. They really seemed to have the greatest capacity for listening. And then the projects that they showed us that they had done were very creative. So we started a partnership with them just about a year ago, and they got to work. Our challenge to them was to meet the demands of a rapidly evolving digital world, especially in relation to digital devices. I'm sure you've all noticed personally how much you're using your digital device compared to when you did 3 months ago, 6 months ago, 1 year ago. It's just so rapid. So they were well aware that we needed to be just in your hands at any moment. So they spent a good amount of time on campus, immersing themselves in daily life and meeting with students and faculty. They reached out to other constituents, parents, middle school placement counselors, and then my favorite, the alumni. I don't know if any of you ran across Jean-Marc when he was here, but the way he pronounced alumni, because he's Belgian, was very charming. He talked to everyone, his partner Stephanie, they have a nice team, and they really got to know Kate. Their goal, as they described it to us, was to find the overlap between internal values and external perceptions, and it's that area of overlap, and then sort of moving those two circles together, which they define as brand, which is one of the nicest descriptions I've ever heard of how a brand is how arrived at. So in talking to all these different constituents, they just put together a ton of different impressions. They approached the concept of boarding school and what parents thought about boarding school, what alums thought, what people who didn't really know that much about boarding school thought about it. Again, they're just listening and taking in impressions about the Mesa itself, the specifically this place, and pulled in lots of different thoughts and ideas. These are just a few of the areas that they approached. They talked about curriculum, of course, and got a lot of information and impressions from parents and others about the curriculum of Kate. And then they also talked a lot about, so what do you think about Kate's current web experience? And, people were pretty honest about everything. The parent portal was terrible. I love the photos of the kids. And pretty much everything in between. Like to see more of the teachers, information requests about the calendar, getting more student experience in. So ultimately they came away saying that the website could do a better job of communicating the spirit of Kate and underscoring the experience throughout all sections. The weekly photo galleries seem to be the most successful depictions of what it's like to be a Kate. What makes Kate unique isn't one thing but many, yet much of its essence is currently fragmented in sections and across a myriad of external social channels. There's an opportunity to unify Kate's digital presence with a concise, clear, and compelling message for current and prospective families. Okay, this is, again, sort of a continuation of what they came away with. What Kate should not be is fragmented statistics, confining, distant, and college prep, which really reads to viewers as the parts. Instead, what it should be is connected, holistic, empowering, accessible, and life prep, and that's sort of the sum. So this is all their language and their notion after their exploratory process. So they came back to us with this first concept, which is these big bold photos and using a timestamp moving throughout the day, and their tagline, their initial tagline, which was "The best day of school never ends." What they're trying to do is talk about Kate being a lifelong experience. So we went back to some of the same people that we talked to originally and talked about that, explaining what they were trying to do. Each of these, as I'm sure you know at this point, we maintain a lot of this first concept that when you click on each of these tiles, it takes you through a different part of the day. And it really relies on the big, bold images that people enjoyed, bringing a lot of what weekly photos is to the front of the website every day. They worked a lot on just the look and the feel of it. It's readable. The language is simpler. If you remember back to our old pages, just in terms of accessibility, visibility, there's so many categories, and they just basically cleaned it up and simplified, combining certain sections and just really going for a cleaner look. They worked on appealing taglines throughout the website. The style and their is very much aimed at a younger audience. They really found that a lot of what the decision making for applying to boarding school and choosing a school comes at the level of a 13 and 14-year-old kid. So they were very intentional about reaching that audience. And then they were very intentional as well about making it mobile friendly, just having the website on your phone where you can navigate right through with ease. So ultimately, we had some pushback about that
The best day of school never ends, that there sort of connoted exhaustion for a lot of people, and that just did not seem that appealing. People didn't think of it in terms of, being a lifelong experience. All they thought was like, are you kidding me? The last thing I want is to think that my kid is going to be, falling into bed at the end of the day having done all these things. So we went back to the drawing board on that and came to the best day of school starts here. Moving through the day, we also changed a little bit of the navigation and the tiles. And Mike will sort of take you through some of that. And then they also gave us the opportunity to use that timestamp as sort of a signature that we can carry through all the platforms that we use. So for example, our social media post yesterday was one of those, the invites that Sandy talked about, and we put this on social media yesterday. And as you can see, we're relying on one of our biggest assets here at Kate, our location, and then our ability to capture the beauty and life at Kate. We depend a lot on Ashley for the work of doing that. She's out there every day taking photos. She's out there changing photos, posting photos, and the website really reflects the visual component of life at Kate and the sort of the aliveness of what happens here. And we're really fortunate in that we have Ashley out there always thinking visually about how we're going to convey our story. Oh wait, sorry, forgot this part. So then you'll notice, if you haven't already, that when you go to the home page, if you click on that, either that left-hand tile, the best day of school starts here, or the hamburger menu, which is that right-hand stacked little bars, it takes you here. So this clear and concise navigation page takes you really to every place that you need to go. And I'll just point you to these particular areas which are useful for parents. That takes you to your VeraCross portal, your calendar, your directory. The directory looks different. It has all the same material in there. All the bios are in there. All the photos are in there. School store giving. Is Lindsay here? Yes. Okay, Lindsay. We'll make sure that you guys know about that. We've more prominently placed our summer programs here. Weekly photos, which used to be hidden under the heading of multimedia deep in the website. We brought that forward. And then just the other pages are easily accessible and visually much more clear. And again, if you've looked at it on your phone, you can just get to any of these with a simple tap. Go right there. So I think Mike is going to do a little bit of the live and the VeraCross and what you guys are most interested in seeing.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Let me start out here. So there's a couple of things I think that you'll probably notice the first time when you go into it. Let me adjust this. Got everything on the screen here. One of the things that Sarah's saying is it's extremely visual. Okay, and a lot of that and that really came from the feedback from people, especially prospective students and stuff like that. I want to see what Kate's like. Okay. And again, we're dealing with not just a computer, but you're dealing with the phones and the tablets, and their attention span for going onto a website and reading something, okay, is less than 15, 20 seconds. Okay, so you're not going to get them with the old traditional method, but you are going to get them like this. And what you will notice is that the next time you go to the site, these pictures change. Okay, they're rotating, so it's not going to hit you as stagnant. Okay, when you come to it. And you're going to have the ability, obviously, to mouse over any of these tiles and get a little bit more. But I think the second thing that you'll notice is that the website is what's called responsive. So as my screen size changes and I've got less and less screen to work with on my phone or a tablet or something like that, okay, it's still the same concept. It's still very friendly, okay? And in fact, it's very different. As you notice, you've probably never seen a website like this before. Normally, the method of design of a website is we're designing it for a browser and you're designing it for a desktop, and then you consider the other devices that it's going to be on, okay? What Distinct did was the exact opposite approach. This website was designed for the mobile device and then expanded out, okay, to be also a desktop browser type interface. So, very different concept there, okay? But if we do get into, you know, the more traditional, a couple of things that are probably not, well, this TV isn't showing my whole screen, so I'm not going to go full screen here. Let me just get this out a little bit. Some of the things that may not jump out at you at first, because you're probably not thinking mobile at this point, you're on your desktop, but as Sarah referred, this is lovingly referred to as the hamburger menu in the mobile world. That is a navigational point. So if you had a traditional website, like we used to, where you know all the headings and the menu items were up at top, and you shrunk it down, eventually there's no room for that. So it became that, okay, on a mobile device. Now we're just starting with that, okay? That's it. It's a well-known icon out there. But what it does is, if you click on it, okay, you get right to a more traditional approach, okay, that might appeal to you or that might seem more familiar to you and stuff like that. And you'd be surprised. A lot of the complaints we've had is people couldn't find that. You know, they really, how do I get to the menu? Okay, how do I get there? How do I get started? Okay, that's one way to get started. Okay, and then you can go into things like Sarah was talking about, the more traditional things. Another thing to note, which is nice, is that let's say that, okay, I am going into, you know, a page and I've decided to go into here or something. You'll notice, first of all, okay, very visual, okay, very graphic oriented, and as I go into this page and start looking a little bit more, not only is it visual, we talked about taglines. Sarah talked about making sure that the text was concise, okay, it was more appropriate. It's something you might take the time to read versus, you know, a long page that you're scrolling down. Very visual components can go on there, slideshows like you're seeing, videos can go on these things, okay? But then, how do I get back to the home page? Okay, again, that's right down here. I'm going to click on where it says Kate School. Okay, it's another navigational. If I click on Kate School, you know, it will take me back to the home page. The final piece of navigation that I'll mention, and we'll talk a little bit more about content, is this one right here. This tile right here is the one that gets you to that main menu. Okay, that's what, and the rest of the tags are kind of like a day in the life. It's something that an 8th grader would get on and say, I want to see what the dorms look like. I want to see what the music program looks like. I want to see what sports are like, kind of thing. So that was really the intention of this main screen, was to be able to go and experience Kate and bring it all together in one place for them to get started on. Okay. Some of the things that we've done differently, that we had an opportunity to do, was great. When you get to athletics, we got a chance to be a lot more visual with athletics and take that same approach. And if you start here and you start scrolling down, the things that the impressions we got from people is like, oh my God, is this a college? You know, how can it be that much? You know, at basically at a high school, prep school. Okay, so it's very involved, as our program is and our offerings are. And what's going to be interesting to you is not only on the regular calendar can you see what events are going on and what games are on, but if you're more interested in your team, it's now very easy to go into that particular team. I'm going to go into boys basketball here. And I can get a lot of information about that team. Of course, I'm going to get some slides there and stuff like that. But for example, if I go down to the bottom here and click on the varsity season schedule, right away I can get the record. Okay, I can see what's going on. I can see what the games are. I can see what the record is. You notice the ones in blue, they're away games, okay? I can click on the blue if I don't know how to get to, you know, Rio Hondo, okay? And it'll pull up a map for me, okay? And show me how to get there and stuff like that. So we thought that was a nice way that we could start using, you know, that more thing. That basically is one of several integration points that we have into Veracross. You've all heard about Veracross because that's your parent portal. So all of the directory information that we get on the employees and the photos and all that stuff comes from Veracross. All of the athletic stuff. We have to, in Veracross, we have to define our teams, right? We have to define our coaches. We put our kids on our teams, okay? All of it, we take attendance, you know, on Veracross. We record the game results. All of that is done on Veracross anyways, and what we used to do is update it in about 3 or 4 different places so that it would end up on the website, okay? So now we just basically update it in one place, and the website pulls it. The same for the directory, the same for the calendar, the same for the alumni events and like the CPO dinner and stuff like that you're going to be using to sign up from. All of that is a direct integration in the Veracross. And then if we go back to our menu here, okay. So that's kind of a quick way. Obviously, if you go in at the menu level, you know, as Sarah was saying, like for example, we're doing more with the summer programs now. So you're basically going to get into a menued approach, okay? If you want to learn more about Kate Summer Institute, okay? Again, we're into a menued approach. If you want to get into testimonials, now we're getting into some actual content. So we still do have that menu structure, if you will, for certain things where it makes sense, okay? It's just more visual, okay, and it gets you there. So that's what we do. Questions? Yes?
It's, I guess, a question related not to the website, but from a parent's perspective. Say I was here on Saturday, and I couldn't remember what Sydney said where we were meeting for the, Valentine's Day assembly. Is there a way that we can either look at Veracross or the website to get more information about CPO related?
We could certainly do a better job of that, okay? There are CPO events that are on the calendar, okay? So if in fact I were to go here and go to the calendar, and again, you could look at this on your phone very easily, but I'm going to pull up the calendar real quick, and we're going to look at today, and my eyes are not that good. But the CPO meeting is there, so I'm going to just pull it up a little bit bigger. Okay. Right, and basically, okay, so that meeting is actually on there. Okay, so we do have the different types of events that we put on the calendar are what we consider public events. We put alumni events, we put CPO events, and we put some admission events that we consider public. Like admission visits are not public, obviously, but if there's something going on that the administrator is holding on campus, okay, that would go on there. So the CPO one, we obviously put the meetings and the big things, but I think that's a great opening to put more stuff on there because that's really what the calendar is for. We're not worried about, I don't think we're really worried about getting overcrowded because if you look at it, I mean, we have all the games on, and once you start putting all of the games on for all the different sports and stuff like that, the calendar gets crowded anyways. Okay.
Don't you have an option on there where you can separate it into different calendars?
We had options before on the old website where you could do that.
Not now.
This is one particular, the website is based on, I don't know if any of you are familiar with it, it's a platform called WordPress. Okay, it's an open source. Probably, I think the figure is 28% of the websites in the world are based on WordPress. Okay, and within WordPress, you have lots of, since there's people working on it all over the world, you have lots of different plugins and different types of functionality that you can get within it. Calendar is one of them. This is probably certainly one that is high on my radar. Okay, right now that we're working on to kind of get some, look a little bit nicer, to do a little bit more, and that kind of stuff. Right now it doesn't do that. Through your parent portal, okay, you do have the ability of segregating things, okay. but not on the website right now. Yes?
I have two questions. Does the Parent Square calendar match the Veracross calendar and the calendar on the website, or is it different?
No, these are not fun. To be honest with you, I'm not sure what's on the Parent Square calendar.
So no, so probably not.
And yeah, I would say probably not. I know that Beth Wilson in the dean's office is our. We finally have a main person that everybody goes to for this calendar. Okay, because before it was different departments put different things that pertain to them. Now everything we have a common email address. All calendar changes, additions, subtractions, all they filter into the dean's office. Beth's in charge of it. So now we're convinced that at least the calendars we use and publish on the website are always right, and they're always in sync, and we've only got one place to change it instead of multiples. I will look into the Parent Square one for you, because to be honest with you, I didn't even know we had one in Parent Square.
My second question was, last night my daughter said, oh, I want to look at the course descriptions because I have to sign up for classes. So we went on Veracross and I couldn't find it, so then we went to MyKate. I couldn't find it there, so then I went to the website, and I couldn't find a way to search course registration, so then I was like, okay, it's got to be under academics. Well, it wasn't. We couldn't find it under academics. So it was really hard to just find kind of a basic tool. Maybe we were just
let me,
is there a search line on the
well,
web
let me
page?
just show you one thing real quick, because that is an important topic, especially for this meeting.
It's huge for prospective families too.
Yeah. Okay. Let me sign in as one of our students.
Well, I was signed into my account, so I don't know if it's different for parents.
No, we specifically, I'm going to show you something real quickly. We specifically sent an email out to our students, okay, of exactly where they can access the registration material that they need, okay?
That's not on the parent page.
It's not on the parent page, no. The parent page, you're going to see course requests. I'm going to add this. We were actually finishing up yesterday, okay? But we did send we sent an email out to the kids, okay, and to all the faculty, okay? And we let them know exactly where this stuff was, and we posted it all for them, and basically put instructions on how they could view their current course requests, how they could view the registration book. We have a worksheet we're asking them to put together before they meet with their advisor, and the registration booklet also includes, the classes they're required to take, and we preloaded those in their course regs. So that picture, I just wanted to let you know from that, not to your question, but that brought up a good point. Your kids are fully stocked for that, okay? The faculty and the advisors are fully ready to go to start doing that. There is a link in your parent portal where you can look at the course requests that have been made for your students. I haven't publicized it yet because they haven't sat down and done them yet, okay? And we're still, what we're doing with those right now, they'll just simply list the courses, but we're adding to that the description and the teacher and all that kind of stuff. So when you click on course request, you'll see what course request, what priority your kids requested them from, the full description of the course, any prerequisites for that course, and the teacher that is going to be teaching that course. So you'll be fully armed to sit down and have a conversation with your kids about what they're asking to take and what their priorities are. And when they come back from spring break, is when we're basically going to reopen it up and say, okay, now what came back from talking to your parents, okay, talking to your advisor, what changes do you want to make, and we're going to open it up for another week for them to make their finals. And to your specific question, okay, the reason I didn't put it out there yet is because we haven't got to that point yet, but there will be a link on your parent portal, okay, for this. And one of the reasons for that is what we're trying to do is we're trying to break away from you using the website for parent and academic related stuff and make that parent portal, because you go on there now for your invoices, you go on there now to see progress reports, you go there now to see report cards, you can see your son or daughter's schedule, you can see whether they're in the health center or not, where they are at any particular time of day, who their coaches are. So what we're really trying to do is build up that and calendars and make that a source for you. And so, I hope that answers your question.
Is there a way to search on the Kate website though for things?
There is a way to search news. I'm not sure, Sarah, does it go any
Well,
further?
the courses are
news?
listed, if you go to each department, they're listed sequentially.
But is there just a search line, like?
Yeah, there's a search line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a search line.
Let me show you. Okay, so back to.
Sorry, I don't mean to dominate.
Right at the top.
See this?
Ah, there it is.
Okay.
Yes, great.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. I just thought it was important to know about course registration.
Yeah, no, I
so.
appreciate all that. Oh, sorry.
So from the main page, you can link to Veracross if you hit my Kate.
Correct.
Is that right? So can you link to Parent Square from the main page?
No.
From any page? on the website?
No. Parent Square is meant to. Parent Square probably works most efficiently if you have the app, on your phone. Okay, with that, because it lets you monitor the messages and stuff like that without actually physically go to check them. The majority of our parents have not registered for the app, to be honest with you, and they just get the emails. Okay, but Parent Square wasn't really designed for that. It was really designed, and it's in your email, okay, or it's an app on here. So there's nothing on the desktop actually that we could link you to. And to be honest with you, I'm not sure if we could point you to the app via like a social media icon or something like that. But I'll look into that.
That would be good, because if I'm on the website and then there's something else that I know I got an email about and I can't remember when
Sure.
that was happening, and then I have to go out and back in.
That's true.
Yeah, there's that. I will tell you too, what's on the horizon. We're always looking at better and more consistent ways of communicating with our parents and stuff like that. We went through a whole review at the beginning of this year. Parent Square turned out to be a great vehicle for that. Veracross has some capabilities in there we're holding off on because we didn't want to go with two different ways and have you go here to check here and here to check there. We're going to review that again for next year. And so, great suggestion. We'll keep going on.
On the Parent Square, my child's other school has it as well, and I've just saved it to my toolbar at the top because, like you say, their school, you can't get to Parent Square either, and I'm always just needing to check it, and I don't remember where that email was, or it's way back, or I just wanted to go search another post, so I've saved Parent Square to my toolbar at the top, and that's a quick way to get
Great.
to it.
Yeah, no, perfect.
I have a question about the calendar. I know you just went there a moment ago, but I have trouble finding the outdoor weekends. And just now it looks like this weekend the ski trip's not mentioned or the scuba. Is there a different calendar that's part of this website that shows all the outdoor weekends? Is that on there?
On Saturday, Los Niños is on there. Okay.
Not the outdoor.
These are pretty much the Chinatown shopping trip is on there. I don't know about the outdoor one.
I'm always checking those, for planning for the calendar, and it's really hard to find outdoor opportunities. Maybe they have to be posted by the.
Well, no, that's a good thing. Okay, so if we're not putting it up there, that's great. Okay, so what I can do is, so I can talk to Peter Bonnie and Paul Dennison and make sure that they get into Beth, okay, their outdoor stuff, so that make sure we get posted. But really, Beth is in fairness to her, she's the coordinator. Okay, it all comes into her, but she's not going to reach out to everybody and say, "Did you give me everything that you should have given me?" So great suggestions. I'll make sure that happens. I'll follow up on that. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to reiterate that Mike and Sarah have been working so hard in this effort with the new website, and we can't thank you enough because it's beautiful, and I know that the more that we get on there, the more we'll become familiar with it. But you've done a great job, so thank you both so much. And Ashley, thank you for all the photos. That's part of the website. Okay, so new business. We've got some soccer games today versus Thatcher girls, JV and varsity at 3:15, and we also have JV and varsity basketball, girls basketball versus Villanoma. One at 5 o'clock for JV and varsity's at 6:30. So if you all are around, we'll pop in and cheer our Rams on. Our next general meeting, we don't have one for a while. It'll be Thursday, April 6th, here at 12 o'clock in the Johnson Library. And that is, that after the meeting, we will have our blood drive. So we hope that all of you will stop in, and if you can give blood, that would be great. And that will be starting, Marianne, at 1 o'clock? Right after the meeting, and through the afternoon, I think. So, but we'll remind you closer to the time. And if you could just remember to turn in your name tags and grab a Valentine's Day cookie. So thank you all for coming.
Thank you. Good to see you, my bud.